It's the biggest trade deal that we're working on right now. Has to do with the Asia-Pacific region. And it reflects our values in ways that, frankly, some previous trade agreements did not. It's the highest standard, most progressive trade deal in history.
President Obama is doing some serious arm twisting this week to try to get Democrats in Congress to approve expanded trade authority. Correspondent Kevin Cork has the latest from the White House.
A top Obama priority, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The provision would allow the president to submit trade deals to Congress for straight up or down votes with no amendments. But in a letter to the president, Democratic Senators Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and Ohio's Sherrod Brown slammed the idea, saying it favored expediency over prudence.
Okay, so TPP. Now, if you're an average everyday citizen, you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. And the truth is, well, you shouldn't be. But we'll get to that later. To start off, it is a trade agreement, and it is supposed to be held by 12 signatories. Canada, US, Australia, Brunei, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, and Vietnam, and I nailed all 12 of those countries. The TPP is supposed to be an expansion of the Trans-Pacific Strategic Economic Partnership Agreement, which is also known as the TPSEPA, or the TPSIPA. Now, the TPSEPA's goal was to counter the Chinese rise of economic power by making a system that was directly able to compete with it. And well, to do that, they took drastic measures. Due to the TPSEPA agreement, nearly 90% of all trade tariffs for the countries involved, which are Brunei, Chile, Singapore, and New Zealand, were reduced by 90% in 2006. And by 2015, the tariffs were absolutely gone. Now, what does that mean? It means that corporations that are willing to import or export product resources have no taxes to pay. Geesh, talk about unfair advantage over taxpayers. But that is absolutely not the bottom of the barrel. You see, the TPP is, quote-unquote, made to promote economic growth, support the creation and retention of jobs, enhance innovation, productivity, and competitiveness, raise living standards, reduce poverty in our countries, and promote transparency, good governance, and enhance labor and environmental protections. Okay, geesh, okay. Pretty direct, isn't it? Well, it's not. Remember how I said that you probably have no idea what the TPP is? Hell, you might have never even heard of it before. And you're probably wondering what is inside the TPP agreement. Well, let me tell you, I don't know. You see, the TPP's negotiations were intentionally held in secret, and all we know about it comes from the hints our politicians drop, and from the leaks we've gained access to. And let me tell you folks, it isn't pretty. Not only is the TPP going to cut an immense amount of jobs out of the market, but it is going to allow corporations the chance to bypass laws put in place by states and by countries. Yes, corporations can challenge entire mandatory state laws, and they are going to have the right to bring these states to court. But the absolute worst is that us as citizens have absolutely no say in the matter whatsoever. Because of the TPP, we will have no chance to put our input in the matter, and we will have no rights to say a single word if a corporation challenges the state and wins. So if someone comes on your soil doing something that you're completely against, that your state is completely against, if they beat that state in court, because obviously you can't go and help the state win or something. If they beat that state in court, you have no right to say anything. No manifestations, nothing. You're Really, talk about abbreviating the gap between us and the 1%. And I want to bring up a couple aspects before I go. First, I want to review this part.
It's the biggest trade deal that we're working on right now. Has to do with the Asia-Pacific region. And it reflects our values in ways that, frankly, some previous trade agreements did not. It's the highest standard, most progressive trade deal in history.
Now, you might think that such a big trade agreement involving so many different powerful countries is definitely going to increase jobs. And the thing is that is right, but it won't increase jobs for you. You see, the thing is that all the jobs that will be created will go into developing countries that are also part of the TPP that actually have a smaller minimum wage, where they actually have to pay their employees less and stuff, because companies will be moving their offices into countries like this. Therefore, your country, Canada, or the United States of America, are potentially at risk of a huge job decrease. Now, what am I talking about? What type of jobs will be affected? If you work in an office job, if you work for payroll, or just a job that is stationary where you sit down and you sign papers or anything where you sit down in a cubicle, those jobs are at an extreme risk of being affected by the TPP. So if you are included in one of those jobs, if you work in something like this, then your job is at a potential risk. Before I go, I'm just going to say that I tried to not give my opinion on the matter in this video, but I will be talking about it more in other domains, shall I say. #oral. Okay.